per serving grams of carbohydrates. So that's a huge difference in carbohydrate intake. So you can eat a lot more of the turnips without affecting your blood sugar. Same thing with the pumpkin vanilla pudding. It has 9 grams of carbohydrates. So it's again going to be a lower almond milk. Do you guys use almond milk on a regular basis? Yeah? Yeah, I love almond milk. You want to try to get the unsweetened one. We're using a vanilla one just so it has a little bit more of a dairy voucher. So we wanted to try to use it in a recipe. My family has a lot of dairy allergies in it, so we've always had to try other types of milks to cook with. One thing that you have to think about whenever you are cooking with a non-dairy product is sometimes it doesn't bind as much. So you have to find other things that will help bind it, thicken it. I know a lot of times when I was growing up, we tried to use rice milk because that was the thing that was in the grocery stores at the time. And it's so watery, it doesn't have a lot of binding mechanism to it. It would not make pudding at all. It was pudding ingredients at the bottom and just a layer of water on top. It would not mix together. But we're going to use it today, and we've already made a batch that's in the refrigerator cooling, and it worked out just fine. So the almond milk works with the ingredients that we're making it with today. So let me get started with that. In a saucepan, we're going to put the sweetener. We're going to use Splenda. You can also use stevia or whatever flavor sweetener you like. We're going to use Splenda today, and that's why it's going to be so low in carbohydrates, is because we're using the sweetener instead of the regular sugar. So we're going to get the Splenda cornstarch. So the cornstarch is going to help it bind. Like I was saying, the almond milk is not going to bind as easy as a dairy product would. So this is going to help it bind a little bit better. Okay. So we have our sugar and our cornstarch in the pot. I'm going to mix it up a little bit. And then we're going to mix our other ingredients, which is going to be the milk and then our egg. So we're going to just use the yolk for this. So you can use like a little container like this or something and save the egg whites, and then you can make it for breakfast or something like that. So say you're making this tomorrow morning for the evening Thanksgiving, you can use the yolk for, or the white for maybe breakfast or something like that, and then just keep the yolk for the dish we're doing. So I just split it in half, and then I'm alternating back and forth until all of the white is gone. So the white is going to be a good source of a lean protein, and it's not going to contain the cholesterol. The cholesterol is all on the yolk. But another thing while we're using the yolk is because it's a binder. So that's another way that's going to help the milk bind to make the pudding. It's the cornstarch and then the egg yolk. So we just whisk that together, and then we're going to gradually add it to the pot. And so we're going to let this cook, and Kaylee's going to continually stir it. We're going to get it to a boil, and then we're going to let it thicken for about 3 to 5 minutes, and then add the rest of the ingredients into it, the pumpkin and the seasonings and things like that. So she's going to keep stirring that while we continue on with our next recipe. Okay, so I'm going to get started with the green bean casserole. Let me check the potatoes real quick. The turnips. They look like they're going to be tender enough so that we can mash them just like a potato would be. You want it to be tender enough to mash. You guys make green bean casserole for your dinners, your Thanksgivings? Well, we're doing a healthier version today. So we already have the oven preheated, and then we're going to spray our baking dish. You want to use a canola spray, like a pan has it, or just this is a generic one. This is a canola oil spray. And then we're going to put that aside and get the rest of we're going to get the green beans opened. You can use frozen green beans, or you can also use no salt added canned green beans. So the pudding is almost ready. So we're going to go back to the pudding. I know I'm all over the place, but that's how it is in the kitchen, isn't it? You kind of are trying to do all of the things So we want to do the pumpkin. We want to make sure it's 100% pure pumpkin. We don't want to get the pumpkin pie mix because it already has like the seasonings and the sugar and stuff already in it. You want to get just, we put the pumpkin in there and we're going to put the seasonings. We have cinnamon, cloves, ginger, and nutmeg that we're going to put in. And then we're going to put in vanilla at the end. As in the recipe, it says you can either do vanilla extract or vanilla bean. So the bean, you would take the bean, split it in half just on one side, open it up, take out the beans in it, and then put those in there. We're just doing it the easy way because we have vanilla in our cabinet, which is probably what you're going to do at home too. So let me put in the cinnamon, ginger, and that's going to give it that good pumpkin pie flavor. And then we're going to put the vanilla in at last. And then we're going to let it cook again for another about 3 minutes to get all those flavors combined into it. And then we're going to put it in the refrigerator for an hour. We already have done that, so we have one for you guys to try. It's in the fridge right now fully. You're going to top it with the pecans and the whipped cream right before you serve it. I think it would be a cute idea, which Kaylee's kind of doing a similar idea for her Thanksgiving. Get little individual cups and put the pudding in there and then top it, and then each person can have their own little individual cup. Would be a very good way to display it. Okay, so I'm going to put some of this butter in a dish and we're going to melt it a little bit. This is a margarine. Some people prefer margarine, some people prefer butters. I am using a margarine today. Whenever you're looking at margarines versus butters, you want to always make sure that it has 0 trans fats. Trans fats increase our bad cholesterol and decrease our good cholesterol. So we want to always have the trans fats to be 0. She said the pudding is done, so she's putting it in a dish to put into the fridge for about an hour. We have our melted butter here. We are going to add it to a dish. Put in some sour cream. This is going to be the light sour cream, which is going to be 50% less fat. So you want to try to choose like a light one or a fat-free sour cream. And then some flour. Flour, again, is going to be a good binder, similar to like if you were making a roux or something like that. You add the flour and then the dairy, and that's going to make the roux, the thickener. So we're just going to add a little bit of flour. This is a whole wheat flour. This. So we're just going to mix this together. This recipe is really fast. It's all mixed together. And then we're going to put in the seasonings. And then we're going to dump in the other ingredients. I already drained together. And this cheese is a reduced fat cheese, cheddar cheese. And it's already shredded, which is great. Makes it easy. So you want to try to choose the reduced fat options whenever you get cheeses. Then we're going to dump this into the dish. And then we're going to top it with the rest of the cheese. And then crackers. So we have a reduced fat club cracker here. So we want to try to choose a buttery club cracker like a club. And this is going to be like we do the onions at my house is what we usually do. So this is going to be a replacement for this. And this is going to be the best thing for the little kids that are running around like crazy at Thanksgiving to do. So put it in a plastic bag and then get something, you know, it can be the spray bottle, it can be a little mixing dish like this, and let them beat this up. Or you can avalanche. Or you can just have them mash it up like this, you know, beat it on the table, whatever they want to do. We're going to put that over top. This is what's going to give us the crunch. And then we're just going to spray a little bit more of the cooking spray, or you can use olive oil and just drizzle it over the top. And that's what's going to help it brown whenever it's in the oven. Okay? So that's it. And then we're just going to put this in the oven for about 20-30 minutes until it's bubbly and brown. Turnips are ready. So Kaylee is going to start mashing up. Tell them about chopping the turnips.
So how many of you guys have chopped turnips before? It is not a fun experience. I had the experience earlier. I didn't even know what a turnip was. But be really careful and have a really big knife whenever you cut it. You'll have to peel it first and then you'll cut it up into these small little pieces. The first initial cut is really, really hard. They're really hard on the outside and they're a little bit softer on the inside. I actually broke a knife today doing these. Yeah. So just be really, really careful. And they actually look a lot like mashed potatoes after they've cut.
That's about a cup. That's about a cup in the container, so we're gonna go ahead and just drizzle that on as she's mixing it.
Do you guys use hand mixers at home to do mashed potatoes, or do you do it by hand?
We're using olive oil as a better choice than butter in this recipe for mashing it. There is actually butter flavored olive oil that you can find at specialty shops that I like to use in recipes like this or when baking with olive oil instead of butter. And it still gives it that butter flavor, but it's the olive oil instead of butter, so it has less saturated fat. Okay, so on your handout, we have some nutrition tips for the holidays. So what are some things that you guys do to try to be healthier during the holidays? Is there anything you guys like to do?
Try not to eat very much.
Okay, so watch your portion sizes, yeah.
Yeah, we usually have veggie tray before to fill up.
That's a great option, yeah. Making half your plate veggies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We try.
We have a veggie tray too that we usually munch on while we're cooking and stuff like that, yeah. So watching your portion size, using only one plate, that doesn't mean it's stacked this high.
Right.
You want it to be only about an inch high. Just gonna mix the chives in. Having a snack before, like we are having ours about 4, so that's like an early dinner time for us. So making sure you do eat something for lunch, you know, before, if you're having yours at 4 too, is going to be something that's going to help you from overeating at your meal as well. So that's another thing that you can do. If you do have a buffet style, try to scout out those veggies first and eat on those. And making at least half your plate the veggies is going to help. Fruits or vegetables is going to help with watching your calories and your carbohydrates. Also, if you do have your favorite foods that you only eat for Thanksgiving, just get a smaller amount. You know, you can still try everything, just do smaller amounts so that all fits on the plate is another good tip. So there's our mashed turnips. They kind of look like mashed potatoes, don't they?
Sure do.
Very similar, yeah. Okay, so